Generative AI does not need to be complicated nor expensive. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use 3 different GenAI models, and we're going to do it for free, and it's going to be crazy easy, so no API calling or anything like that. It's going to be one from Google, one from Facebook/Meta, and a third one from something whose name I dare not pronounce. So stay tuned and do it with me. If you want this dataset and you actually want to do this with me in the pace that I do it, you're welcome to download this starter file and as well the dataset. And you'll find a link in the description and also the first comment in order to get them. And as you do it, download them, prepare, and let's get started. In here, we have basically 4 steps. Conversation analysis using this Transformer NLP. This is the main topic. Conversation summary, cancellation detection, and reason inference. The first step, this one I have pre-prepared. It's basically preparing the data and of course uploading it. So let's get started. I'm going to import pandas as PD and as well from IO import string, and I'm going to upload the data here. And I have it, I think, on the downloads or something like that. This is also built like this, so it's very easy for you to actually, retrieve. And let me get it, call logs. Let me click on open. And here we go. And the way that it is here, it's basically unstructured. And this is something we need to do. We need to structure all of this data. And what we do is that we are going to decode using this UTF-8 because that is the format of the data. And then we are going to transform it and read it as a pandas data frame. A tiny error, so call logs, yes. So let me check what is the name. So uploaded, actually, let me check here the name again. And we go back, should be, yes, call logs, and then there's a 1 in parentheses. So I'm going to fix that part. Here we go. Let me also increase the size. So 1 here, and now it should be done. We have this unnamed column, and then we have the logs. And the way that the logs are is that you have a date, you have a time, and you have the conversation with the agent. And this is what you need to kind of structure. And you can see it here all the time. For instance, there's agent here, and there's a lot of agents. There should also be some dates as well. So time, date, and this is what we need to work to restructure. And this is exactly what this function does. So it goes through this df logs. It splits based on the /n. And then it splits basically after the space, after the colon. And then it returns the date, the time, and the conversation. We apply this function for each column, and then the result type is that we expand. And we have, here we go. And that is the first step, and then we remove the logs and the unnamed. Let me do Control Enter. Here we go. And here we have it, the date, the time, and the conversation. Now, all of this part I've done for you. So it's preset because not really here to show you how to do this in Python. The focus is on GenAI. And this is where it becomes interesting. We are going to use this BART, large CNN model. Again, large implies that it is a model that uses some memory, and therefore you'd find non-large BART models. And CNN from convolutional neural networks. And as well, we also have the information that the model has been trained twice, and that would be roughly it in terms of relevant information. And let's get started. Over here, we need to start importing stuff. Here we go. From Transformers import pipeline. This is where we are going to get our model. Let me do Control Enter. Let me also open a new cell. We are going to create a pipeline. And what does this mean? So we are going to create, the goal is to first summarize. This is the first step. We're going to first summarize. Then we are going to detect if there was a cancellation. So this means that we'll be using one of these models for classification. And then we are going to infer the reason. But first, doing the summary. So summarizer equals to use the pipeline. And there's basically two things that we include. The first one is the purpose. The second is the model. So summarization, here we go. And model equals to, and what I dare not pronounce, so Phil's Schmidt, something like that. And then slash and BART hyphen large hyphen CNN hyphen Samsung. And here we go. So this is the first step. And we have a tiny error. So Phil's Schmidt BART large CNN Samsung is not a local folder and is not a valid model identifier listed here. Okay. So let me try to see what is wrong. So Phil's Schmidt. So let me try to copy here from my notes. So this step is okay. And this step is also okay. Let me try to do Control Enter again. Okay. So this is not really working. So let me ask ChatGPT what is wrong, because this is not going according to the plan. And let's see. So let me also put here the code so that it's a bit more specific. And here we go. And let's see what comes out of it. And so indicates that either doesn't exist or is private. BART large CNN Samsung. And okay, so we get the possibility to use some other repository. Let's give it a try. So let me go back. So this was the name that I dare not pronounce, obviously, and the one that's causing some issues. Okay, so we have a solution. And yeah, so we'll stick with this. And let me come back. Let me leave this here. And while this is downloading, we can kick off with the next step. And what we need to do now is, and the way that this works is that we go through our data, and for each of the conversations, we create a summary. Therefore, we need a loop here, a loop that goes through each iteration. let's get started. So we have this empty list to store. So output list, and we have here the square brackets. And then what we do is for conversation in the data, and let me see how we store this. So data conversation with just one single quote, colon. What we do is that we build this summary. And this is done by applying the summarizer. And then for each conversation, and this is, if we have a look, it is here. So we put here a 0, and this 0 just extracts the actual conversation. And what we would call it would be summary text. Here we go. And then output list, and then we append the summary. So this is the first step, and hopefully there won't be any issues. And what we do next is that we add the summary to the data. So this way we keep track and we add always what we are including. Therefore, let's come here and data, we're going to call it summary, right? And then equals to, and we add here the output list. Then we can have a quick preview, so data dot head. Now, while this is running, we're going to take a quick break and have a sip of water. All right, we're back. Took around 10 minutes, but here we have the output. And this makes it so that you can actually have a look at the conversation and at the summary and actually be able to compare. And this is one of the things that I find fantastic, that in a way that it is free, that it is easy, even though it takes a few minutes, you can do it. And the outcome, you're welcome to have a look, is really, really good. Now, let's move on to cancellation detection. And the goal here is to find out from the conversation if someone canceled or not. So let's get started. We are going to use this BART model. This one has really been tailored towards this zero-shot classification that we are going to do. So let's get started. Here, I'm going to set the classification pipeline, classifier. And here what we do is that we do pipeline, and then we do zero-shot classification. Here we go. And then we set the model, which I'm going to copy from here, Control-C, inside quotes. Here we go. So the first step is here done. And here what we do next is that first we start by setting the labels. So labels equals to, and here we, or basically it will be either cancellation, and then basically no cancellation, or put other. It's always good to have some kind of other in these types of classification when you have text data. And let me put single quotes in both just for some kind of harmony, so to speak. And then we create a list for the outcomes. And here you go. So classification. This will be an empty list. Oops. And we can kick it off. Something popped up. For some reason I was trying to do a print screen. And then for conversation in data conversation, here we go. And it's basically the same logic here, right? So, but let's do it in a way that's a bit more elegant from a programming perspective. Classification. So we go to our list, classification. We go to our list, we append, and what we append? We append the outcomes of our classifier. And this classifier is the application at each conversation of the labels. So here, labels. And here you go. So this is well written. We go here to the right, and we include here the labels, and we do index 0. And let me do Control Enter. While this is thinking, let me already prepare here the next steps, and which are, so create a column. And here I'm going to basically set it. So let me do it like this. So data cancellation. And what we do is, so it is true if, and we have this classifier equals cancellation, and basically else false for CLS. And let me just have a look to make sure I make no mistakes. Yeah, exactly, for CLS, or the classifier in classification. And this is partially different because I'm not just putting the label here, I am putting true or false. So in classification, that is the only difference. You can absolutely do the same here, right? Because we have a list, we have an outcome, and you could definitely, in a sense, concatenate this list. Or you can add it here as this, true and false. Now, while this is running, let me take the opportunity to already explore here the last one. So we have done a summary. We have classified into cancellation, non-cancellation. And now we are going to see is, okay, so from the people that we have, in a sense, predicted that they would cancel based on the conversation, we are going to try to infer what is the reason. And that is exactly what we are going to do here. But while this is running, we do nothing, because at the same time, I want to have a look at data.head at the very end. So I'm going to have a sip of water and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Took around 5 minutes. So not so much for the summary, it was longer. Now for the cancellation, the process, it is a bit easier, I guess. And what we will do now is this inference. Now, I also want to do this, post outcome where we could do some visualization. You're welcome to do them on your own, actually share it. But at the same time, the goal is really to show you these models. So let's get started with the last one. This one is slightly different. So from transformers, we import the T5 tokenizer and the T5, or is it T5? No. Yeah, T5 and then 4. Okay. T5 for conditional generation. So this is the first step. And here we go. So I have a spelling mistake, I guess. Yeah. Should have a capital T. So this is done. And what we do now here is that we set it up. So set up and we are going to use the T5 model from Google. So set up the model. So model equals, and it is Google, and then Flan -T5 tokenizer. Here we go. So this is step 1. And then we do the tokenizer. And what happens here is that we are going to take either the summary or the conversation. Both will be fine. And we are going to build tokens. So if you've ever used the OpenAI API or any kind of API that deals with these LLMs, they are paid per token, which are characters, I guess. So we're going to basically split everything into tokens, into words, and it is this part that is going to be built for the inference, right? So we're going to split into tokens, and okay, which kind of tokens here would be relevant for a cancellation reason? And then this is where the Flan T5 then actually go and be applied. So let's get started. So tokenizer, and then we have this first step. So T5 tokenizer, and then here from pre-trained, and here we include our model, and then here is our actual model here. So T5 for conditional, and I was really hoping, okay, let me copy. So, because it's tricky to spell this. And let me set the model. So here we go, Shift Enter. So not ideal. So Google Flan T5, here we go. Should be base here. And so another error, I guess. Parameter config should be, yes. So here I would add from pre-trained, which is basically what the error is telling us. There should be an instance of class pre-trained config. And to create a model from a pre-trained model, use model, blah, blah, from pre-trained, which I forgot to add. Now, Shift Enter here. And what we need to do now is that, and this is the cool part, right? So this is the way that we work with it and kind of like works like an LLM. First and foremost, we don't really care if the cancellation is not true, right? So this is the first step. And then what we do is we ask, okay, what are the issues? So let's get started. We are going to build a function. And let me scroll down to infer the cancellation reasons. And we define cancellation reason. Cancellation reason. We apply it to our data frame. Let's say colon. Now, if our data frame and then cancellation. Okay. Very bad at spelling today, I guess. Control C. And so if this cancellation equals to false, we do nothing, right? So return none. And then else, and this is the interesting part, so we prompt the model. And we add it here. So prompt the model. And so we have the prompt equals an F string. And let me add a third quote. And here we do as a dictionary data frame conversation here. And so basically what is happening here is, okay, we go to the conversation and then we do what are the issues that led the client to cancel their subscription. Here we go. So this is the first step, and then we close it, and then we can actually move on. So we convert here the prompt into tokens, so this part as well, and we feed it to the model. So input equals, we use the tokenizer, we include the prompt, and then it is return sensors equals to, and then p t, and dot input IDs. So input and then IDs, and then we have an output. The output would be model dot generate. Based on the input, we set max new tokens. Max new tokens equals to 50 minimum length. This is just so that you're kind of like calibrating, so they have like a similar thing happening. And then at the end, because this is a function, you return, use the tokenizer to decode. Output, we get just a 0. And then we go to the right, skip. So we have a look, so skip special tokens equals to true. So this function, I mean, let's see if it works first. And then we apply the function. So data, and then cancellation reasons. Let me close with a single quote. Data dot apply, and our cancellation reasons function. Reasons, right? So the one that is here, cancellation reason. So without the S at the end, access equals to 1. Let's see if it works. Okay. We're getting an error. So let's see what is happening. So list object has no attribute shape. So let's see. So let me have here a look to what is happening. And we have, if the data frame cancellation is false, return none. So this is okay. And then we do the prompt with an F string. We go to our conversation. What are the issues that led the client to cancel their subscription? this seems okay as well. And then we would have here, so the input, we have the tokenizer, we include the prompt, we return the sensors, and we get specifically the input IDs. And for the output, we use the model to generate based on input. We set maximum tokens, the minimum length, and then we return the tokenizer to decode. We get the output. We skip special tokens. And for some reason, this is not actually working. And keyword arguments, return sensors. Okay. Return tensors. Here we go. I knew that we would find it. And okay. And then at the very end, we would have data.head, which you're welcome to as well continue to explore. But while this is running, let me do a quick recap. The way that it worked is that we started with a lot of, let's call it unstructured data. And we had a look here at this unstructured data, and we got it into this pandas data frame, which is something that should be customary for all of you. And then we split it into daytime and the conversation. So this was our main thing. And then let me actually go to it. So this was our main thing here. And then after we extracted the information, we did a summary using the pipeline from transformers. We had some issues with our first model, but then we found a solution with our friend. We built a summary for the conversation, and then we went and we had a look at the cancellation. Was it canceled based on the information? Could we actually, figure it out? And we applied it. We have not checked if it was good or not. I'll leave that to you. And then we're like, okay, for the ones that we have inferred that they would cancel, let's find out what are the reasons. And the goal here is to go from this initial thing. We have the summaries, which we did not completely explore, but they are there. Then we're like, okay, the cancellation and the reasons. And these reasons are supposed from a business perspective to actually help the business actually figure out what are the main pain points from their customers. With this, it's also done, right? We have here all the cancellation reasons that you could then explore, and you can use this for any type of business, especially those that involve customer interactions, that involve cancellations, of course. You can have a look. And with this, we are done. 3 different models for 3 different purposes. And the bottom line is that if you are to explore this, make sure that you also explore what kind of models are out there, especially if you want to do it for free. If you want to do it paid, yeah, whatever. Open AI API or Gemini API, use the most recent one or second most recent one for costs, and go for it. But this is a free alternative for doing. So if you have a very new business, you just want to, show off, showcase something new, this is the proper way of doing it. So I hope you had fun, and I am looking forward to seeing you in another video. Until next time, have fun.